Welcome to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the #1 podcast and resource for Black entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful, sustainable businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. If you're currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, you're invited to join us each and every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family and get ready to elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 479. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today's show topic is The Money is in the Message, Turbocharge Sales with Micro Messaging. The money is in the message, turbocharge sales with micro messaging. One of the biggest reasons businesses fail or don't reach their maximum potential is because many entrepreneurs have not mastered the art of messaging, specifically micro messaging. Now, on today's show, I'm going to give you a masterclass on what micro messaging is, why you need to implement it immediately, and I'm going to give you the simple 3-step formula to implement it in your business right now. But before we get to today's content, let me just share a few things with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family. Please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and resource links, such as the link to my latest book, Unlocking the Power of ChatGPT, the ultimate prompting guide for beginners. You can go to unlockingchatgpt.com for more information. Remember, guys, AI is here, so you're either going to be on the wave or you're going to get crushed by the wave of artificial intelligence. So go to unlockingchatgpt.com for more information. Also, don't forget to take advantage of our 3-day free access to BEB Academy. Now, BEB Academy is our online learning portal to help you elevate your entrepreneur IQ. We have all types of resources such as masterclasses, workshops, PDF downloads, and everything else to help you move from point A to point B. So you can go to the website, blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, and it's at the top of the website. Hit BEB Academy and get 3 days free access to everything inside the Academy. And I also want to let all first-time listeners know we drop new episodes every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening to this. We're on all your major podcast platforms and YouTube. Now, let's get ready for today's content. So today we're going to talk about the money is in the message, turbocharge sales with micro messaging. Okay, let's start off with the problem. What is the problem? The problem is most entrepreneurs only focus on the macro message as opposed to multiple micro messages. And we're going to dive into this in depth today, and I'm going to give you several different examples of what I'm talking about, and I'm going to give you the blueprint or the formula to implement this today. So when you implement micro messaging, you're going to be speaking directly to a classification or a type of customer that you have, as opposed to speaking in general terms. Now, what does that do? When you speak directly to a customer type, that means you have a deeper connection with that customer type, which obviously is going to increase conversion and obviously increase your sales and revenues. So that's what we're going to focus on today. That's one of the biggest issues when it comes to marketing, because most people speak in generalities. We're not speaking specifically to a customer type or a specific avatar that you have as a customer. And you have to understand, guys, you have more than one customer type. You may have one product or service, but they're different types or classifications of customers. And we're going to go over this in detail later on today. So this is what you can look forward to on today's show. I'm going to give you 3 things. The first thing is I'm going to explain to you what micro messaging is. Number 2, I'm going to show you why you need to implement it now. And number 3, I'm going to give you a simple 3-step formula to implement micro messaging in your business today. So let's start off with, what is micro messaging? Micro messaging, guys, is a form of messaging that speaks directly to one type or classification of your audience. For example, if you sell life insurance, your macro message is that you sell life insurance, right? But one of your micro messages may be that you specialize in selling life insurance to new parents. Okay, so that messaging is going to be totally different than your macro message. Hey, I'm a life insurance agent. I do A, B, C, and D. Okay, remember, we're talking about messaging. And the reason messaging is important, it creates a connectivity. It actually allows you to convert prospects or people in your audience over into customers. And so when you speak in generalities, that doesn't usually go deep. It doesn't usually make that connection. Oh, yeah, okay, you sell life insurance, cool. But if you're directly speaking to new parents and they want to be able to make sure that their child is well off, God forbid if something happens to them, then this is speaking directly to them. You're pushing that hot button. You're speaking to them about something that's important to them. So that's what micro messaging is. Now, how do you get that micro message out? That comes in the form of your communication with your audience. Now, remember, you can only communicate in 3 ways, right? You have visual, you have audio, and you have written. Okay, and it could be a simple thing as making separate YouTube videos or creating multiple landing pages or writing different blog articles or creating different webinars to connect with your audience. And see, here's the thing, guys. You're not changing your product or service per se, but you are changing the message. And I'm going to give you guys some real life examples and then show you the formula so you can do this instantaneously. Now, what you also have to understand is that astute entrepreneurs are taking their time to do this while lazy entrepreneurs aren't. Most times as entrepreneurs, we have one macro message, okay? But the smart entrepreneurs are understanding that they have different classifications or different types of customers, and they're speaking to each type of customer they have so they can make that connection, that connectivity. It's what's going to turn a prospect into a paying customer. Now, you may have several different classifications, and you may be saying to yourself, Jay, damn, I got different types of clients. I'm going to have to do like 5 or 6 different pieces of content. Yeah, if you want to be able to convert, you're going to need to speak to each of these customers individually, okay, or customer types or classifications individually. Now, number 2, why do you need to implement this immediately? So when you implement this immediately, what you're going to do, guys, is you're going to generate more leads, which in turn is going to generate more sales. So you'll be working at maximum efficiency. Now, if you don't use micro messaging, I promise you, you will not be working at maximum efficiency. So if you're not speaking directly to that type of customer that you have, then your message isn't going to penetrate as if you were talking directly to them. It's just like a doctor, right? So if you have a foot problem, you're not going to go to your general doctor. You're going to go to your foot doctor, your podiatrist, right? So if you have some issues with your brain, you're not going to go to your general doctor, or you might have to go there first so they can recommend you, but you're going to go to a brain surgeon or a specialist, somebody that specializes in whatever problem that you have. So now that we know what micro messaging is and why you need it, I'm going to give you guys some real life examples. Now, I'm going to give you 3 examples. And remember, guys, there's only 6 type of things that you can sell, right? Your physical products, your digital products, your services, somebody else's physical products, somebody else's digital products, and somebody else's services. So I'm going to give you an example of micro messaging for a physical product, a digital product, and a service. And that's going to cover everybody that's out here listening. Okay. So, and I've used this example before. So let's start off with the physical product. So years ago, I used to sell insoles. Okay. My youngest daughter had foot issues, and she played field hockey, soccer, and all kind of stuff, track and field. And well, both of my daughters did, but my younger one had foot problems. So one day we had gone to the orthopedist, and he actually recommended us getting these insoles. Now, these insoles actually cost about $200 or $300, and we had to go buy them. And it's funny because when I started looking at them, I went on to Alibaba, and that's a site where you can find manufacturers. I found the exact same insoles that he recommended or prescribed for my daughter, and they were like $3 or $4 a piece. And we paid a couple of $100 for these insoles. So that's just the backstory. But that brings me to micro messaging. So just imagine with this physical product, you have 3 different people that you're selling these insoles to. You have a field hockey player, you have a waiter or waitress, and you have a competitive runner. Okay, same insoles. Nothing changes about the product. But what changes is the messaging. And this is what micro messaging is. So if I'm talking to the field hockey player or the waiter or waitress or the competitive runner, each conversation is totally different because I'm trying to connect with that person or with that type of person, and I'm trying to figure out how can I connect with them and push their buttons where we'll make them convert into a prospect into a paying customer. So if I'm talking to a field hockey player, and why are insoles important? So number one, it'll help you move more on the field, or help you score more goals. In turn, that's going to help your team win. All right, I'm just making this up on the fly. Waiter or waitress, hey, you're standing up 8 hours a day in your shift. You know, in order to make better tips, you need to be happy and smiling all the time. How are you going to do that if your feet are hurting? Okay, now I'm talking to the competitive runner. And what their transformation is, they're trying to obviously run a better time. So, hey, you know, ever had problems with your feet while you're running, not able to run your best time because of pain? Use the J. Jones insoles. All right. And once again, this is just on the fly. I'm making this up. So what you saw right there is each conversation is totally different. What is the transformation that you're trying to sell? That's really what it is, guys. It's transformation. So for the field hockey player, I'm selling the transformation of, you know, you not playing as well and helping your team because your feet are hurting. But when you use the J. Jones insoles, now your feet are going to feel great. You're going to perform better, and your team is going to win more. With the waiter or waitress, the transformation is from having a bad attitude or a so-so attitude to having a smile on your face, which is going to correlate into more tips because you're friendlier, you're not in pain, and you can do your job much easier. Now, for the competitive runner, obviously, it's all about competition and winning. So now the transformation is, instead of coming in second, third, fourth, or last or whatever, now you can possibly win the race because you're running now without any pain and you enjoy running again. So always remember, guys, I don't care what you're selling transformation. Now, that was an example of a physical product. So any of you that are selling physical products, I didn't change the insole, but what I did was I changed the messaging to micro messaging for each of my different classifications or types of customers that I may come in contact with. Is it a lot in terms of creating content? Yes, it is. But that's what astute entrepreneurs are doing. Now, let's look at a digital product. All right. So say, for example, you've created this digital weight loss meal plan program. OK, so you have meal plans that are designed to help people lose weight. Now, you could have several different types of customers. So, for example, you could have new mothers. So women that just had babies that want to lose weight and get on a meal plan. You also can have newly divorced men. They're back out on the market. They may be overweight after being married for X amount of years, and they want to look better and get back out on the market. And then last, you could have executives. So executives may feel that they can perform better if they're in better health. So is your conversation for this weight loss meal plan company going to be the same for each of these different types of customers that you have? The answer is obviously no, because they're different hot points and hot buttons that each of them have. So when you're talking to a new mom, and I've seen this all the time. I see a lot of new mothers out running with strollers. I've seen them in the malls in the wintertime because they can't go outside. But that's something that a lot of women are concerned about, is losing that weight after having a baby. So your conversation on this meal plan is, hey, want to feel better and look better and gain more confidence after having your baby? Then join the J. Jones meal plan and we can help you lose X amount of pounds in X amount of days or whatever. So remember, you're selling the transformation from what you currently are to what they want to be. Okay, that's a conversation with a new mother that's trying to lose weight with the meal plan. Now, the conversation for a divorced man that has been married for 20 plus years, just getting back out on the dating scene, is going to be totally different. Hey, you have confidence with women, look your best to attract the most intelligent and beautiful women out there, whatever. I'm making this up on the fly, but that conversation is going to look totally different. Same meal plan. You may have to do a little tweaks or whatever, but it's the same base product. Okay. And this is a meal plan. So that conversation to those new mothers and the newly divorced man is going to be different. Just like it's going to be different if you're trying to sell this meal plan to executives that want to get in better health, to be more energetic, to be more successful in their business. So mental and physical health, guys, are intertwined. So if you're obese and overweight, many times that's going to affect your performance. And so I know as an entrepreneur, I got to do a better job. I have to eat better and I have to stay in shape. And I like to bike. I like to jog. I like to walk and hike and stuff like that. But I know that I need to be in better shape, in better health. So I know it's going to help me perform better. So once again, this is an example of a digital product, a weight loss meal plan digital product that has totally different dynamics for each type or class of prospective customer that you have. So I know you guys are catching on and understanding, and I just want to make sure I give you examples for all types of products and services. Now, let me give you a real life example in a service-based business, and I'm going to stick close to home, and I'm going to use my new mortgage business. All right, so if any of you guys listen to the podcast for any amount of years, you probably know that I had a very successful mortgage business until the crash of 2008. And I've been out of the game probably since 2010 or 11, and I'm making a comeback, and it just made sense for me where I am right now. So I'm back in the game. But as a mortgage broker, I have different classifications of customers. And here's a real life example. I have first time home buyers. I have refinance, cash out, debt consolidation buyers, and I have luxury home buyers amongst others. But my conversation with a first time home buyer is going to be totally different than an existing homeowner who wants to refinance their mortgage to take cash out and consolidate debts versus a luxury home buyer that is buying an $8 million property. Okay, so all three of those conversations are totally different. Now, the whole product is the same, or the service is the same. I'm a mortgage guy, so I do mortgages. The difference is what is the communication and the messaging to each one. So for a first-time home buyer, I know that I'm going to have to explain the whole process in detail and hold my hand in their hand as they go through the process because they've never done it before. So I understand and recognize that. So I'm going to speak to points and hit those hot buttons that are going to be attractive to that first-time homeowner. Hey, we're going to walk you through step by step. I'll be there every way. I'll explain everything, and I'll let you know what to expect as we go on the journey. That transformation is from renting or living at home to buying your own house and being a homeowner. That's what that transformation I'm selling there. Now, let's look at a current homeowner who wants to refi their mortgage, take cash out, and consolidate debts. Okay, what is the conversation like, and what is the transformation that I'm selling? Hey, the conversation is this. Hey, you can use the equity in your home to actually reduce your overall monthly payments. You may have two car payments of $700 each, which is $1,400. You may have another credit card out there or a loan. What you can do, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, is you can take the equity in your home and you can actually refinance your mortgage and pay off your cars, your credit cards, or whatever. Pay for your daughter's or son's wedding, whatever you want to do. And now, as opposed to paying all of those different charges each month, now you're only going to be paying back the new mortgage that we refinance with, and you're going to be saving $2,000 a month. Okay, so that conversation is totally different from the first-time home buyers conversation. So now what I'm selling is lower payments, consolidating debt. You're not going to have all that other debt, and you're going to save on your monthly payments. Now, let's talk about a luxury home buyer, somebody that's buying, say, an $8 million home. Okay, that conversation is going to be totally different. And the reason it's going to be totally different is they're probably going to be obviously in a higher income bracket, or they've got a windfall of some form or fashion, and they may have a business or other things that are different from most normal folks that go to work for a living, okay, that work the 9 to 5. So now I'm going to have to talk to them. That transformation I'm selling is totally different. So now you're moving from a very nice neighborhood to a luxury neighborhood. You're having a luxury lifestyle. And it's something different. The conversation is totally different. So once again, understanding what micro messaging is, and I've given you guys 3 different examples of a physical product, digital product, and a service business. I also want to give you guys 2 real life examples of 2 BEB family members that I've been mentoring. So I'm not going to go in too much detail, but you guys will understand. So one of the BEB family members reached out to me. She has a puzzle company, and she's trying to figure out how to get traction. And so if you're trying to sell just to people who like to do puzzles, that's kind of hard to target, right? You can't really message to people that just like puzzles. So I said one of the things is you may want to create different types of themes for your puzzles, so that way that you can target and micro message those types or class of people. So one of the examples I gave her is you may want to target retired military veterans. So you can create a series of puzzles that have to do with the military. And now once you do that, you'll be able to micro message them. So you could have a puzzle of the guys putting the flag up in Iwo Jima. You could have a battleship. You can have different fighter planes. You can have all types of things that retired military people would have an interest in. Now, since you know that that's something that you're going to micro focus on, you can micro message. Just saying, hey, I got a puzzle company, that's going to be very hard to target. So micro messaging. You could also target different interests. So you could have puzzles of Black historical figures. You could have puzzles of anything that you want. But when you break it down to different types and classifications of your audience, that allows you to speak directly to them. So going back to the veterans, retired military, you can speak directly to them in a language that they understand, and more importantly, that they're going to respond to. Okay, so that's one example of one of my mentees. Now I have another mentee that's interested in doing paid public speaking, becoming a speaker. And when I asked her initially what her main topic was, she said it's motivation and, moving people from point A to point B. And the age range was from 19 up to the late 30s. And when she told me that, I said, well, that's a very broad range. How are you going to talk to a 19-year-old and also talk to a 39-year-old? Because they're 2 different markets or 2 different types or classifications of people. Now, your message may be the same, but being able to market to them is totally different. So an 18, 19-year-old is going to have the same worldly experience as somebody that's 38 or 39. Men might have different experiences than women. So you need to decide who is your true avatar, and then you can micro message to them. Now, you can still keep the meat of your talk. You may have to tweak it a little bit for your different markets or your different types of audiences, but you can still keep the meat of your talk. All right, so now we're getting into micro messaging. You have a main talk here that's geared for, professional women. That's your main talk. You can take that same motivational talk and you can tweak it for men and you can tweak it for teenagers. But each of the messaging is going to be totally different. And so when you can speak to those different types or classes of prospective customers you have, that's when you're able to dig in deep. The problem, once again, is, guys, we think about a macro message. Hey, I'm going to talk about this. Or, hey, I'm a mortgage broker. I can help you in anything you need to do when it comes to mortgages. Yeah, that may be true, but does that resonate with my target audience? Versus me saying, hey, I specialize in first-time home buyers, getting them from renting an apartment to moving them into a house. So, for example, I'm literally working on micro messaging right now for my mortgage business. So a mortgage is a mortgage is a mortgage, right? But once again, there are different classes and types of people that I'm talking to. So, for example, for entrepreneurs, many entrepreneurs that are in a cash business, say restaurants and things of that nature, may not show all their cash, but they do show deposits on their bank statements. So there are programs where we can look at your bank statements, not necessarily your tax returns. Okay, so that's a cash business. We have first-time home buyers and the transformation, once again, hey, I'm moving you from paying somebody else's mortgage, that's what you're doing when you're renting, to paying your own mortgage and building equity. Okay, also, you talk about entertainers and professional athletes. They have different types of needs. So I'm creating vertical content for different types of customers. So I'm working on blog posts and I'm doing videos. So when somebody searches for something specific, then hopefully they'll come into my content, be it video, audio, or written. Video, audio, or written. That's the only way you can communicate. It could be a YouTube video. It could be a blog post. It could be a podcast. The highest form of content we all know is video, because you can strip down the audio out the video, and then you can even transcribe the audio into written content. So video is the highest form of content. So here's an unexpected niche I fell into with my mortgage business just about a month ago. One of my good friends is friends with an exotic dancer who makes a lot of money. But the money, unfortunately, comes in mostly in tips, in cash. And so on a W-2 or taxes, she doesn't show exactly what she makes. And she's got a stack of money and she's trying to buy her first home. So what I did was I used a bank statement program, because she puts a majority of her money in the bank. And so now the lenders can see that, okay, her tax returns or W-2s aren't great, but her business allows her to generate a whole lot of money. And so I helped her move into her first house, and she started referring me to other people or other dancers that she worked with. So that's a niche. So now I'm in the process of creating content for that niche or that type or class of customer that is pretty much a cash-based business. So that's what I'm talking about, guys, when it comes to micro messaging. You got to meet the prospect or the customer where they are. You have to speak to them in their language. You have to make that transformation that you're selling become real in their mind, like taking a renter and transforming them into a homeowner. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about micro messaging. Now, the third thing I wanted to do, guys, is give you a micro messaging 3-step formula, how you can implement this today in your business. And we're going to keep it super simple. Okay. Number one, you want to identify your different types or classifications of customers, your different types and classifications of customers, and you want to write them down. So once again, for my mortgage business, I have all types of customers: first-time home buyers, people that don't show a lot of income, somebody that wants a cash out refi, luxury home buyers, resident aliens, people that don't live in the country. So there's all types of different types and classifications of people looking for mortgages. So I have a list. I've written down the list, and now I'm going through and creating content for each of these types or classifications of prospective customers. So that's step number one, identify the different types or classifications of customers. Number two, you want to identify what transformation each type of customer is seeking from your product or service. What is the transformation? Remember, guys, that's what you're selling. Transformation. You're taking somebody from point A before they've used your product or service to point B, what happens after they use your product or service. So identify that transformation of each type of customer is seeking for your product or service, and you need to hone in on the hot points. So if I'm looking at a young couple that has a $2,200 a month, 1-bedroom apartment in downtown Center City, Philadelphia, and they're looking to be a first-time home buyer, then I can say, okay, how are you going to feel when you move into your new 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home, detached home, and you're only going to be paying $1,800 a month, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance all in. So you're going to move from a 1-bedroom that's 900 square feet to a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath house that's 2,700 square feet, and you're going to be paying less money. That's the transformation. Okay, so identify what transformation each type of customer is seeking from your product or service, and that's what you're messaging. You're messaging and speaking directly to the transformation that your product or service provides. And step number 3 is craft a message or messages to each type of customer using the best platforms and mediums. Remember, there's only 3 types of ways you can communicate, guys: video, audio, and written. So it could be a YouTube video or series of videos. It could be a blog post. It could be a podcast, whatever makes sense for you and the way that you need to connect with your audience. So craft a message or messages to each type of customer using the best platforms and mediums. Now, here is the key, guys. The key is to create messaging for each type of classification or type of customer that you can come up with. All right. So you may be saying, damn, Jay, I got about 8 or 9 types or classifications of customers that I need to create content for. And yeah, the answer is that's what you need to do. So that's what you're going to do. That's going to allow you to separate yourself from your competitors. Because guess what? They're not going to want to do that either, right? So now, because you have that content out there, or you're pushing content on Instagram, YouTube, or wherever the mediums are that make sense for you, people are going to find it, right? So you always think about, how do people search, right? How do I get my first mortgage? All right. So you may want to get some, Google AdWords and then direct people to a YouTube video or whatever, or a blog post or whatever it is. But think about how people search for what you're selling, right? How to get approved for a mortgage with bad credit. I need to create a video or content on that, right? How to get a jumbo mortgage over $5 million. I need to create a video or some content on that. So trust me, guys, there's a ton of content I'm in the process of creating. But once you create that content, that's going to separate you from your competition, because all they want to do is create a general marketing message. They don't want to create those 20 micro messages. It's all about that one message. Okay. And that's all they want to focus on. But remember, your product or service is probably sold to different types of classifications of people. So if you're thinking just smartly, why wouldn't you want to communicate to them? Now, this may sound overwhelming, but you want to do it in phases. Once again, number 1, and this is the formula, the micro messaging 3-step formula. Identify the different types of classifications of customers that you have, right? The types or classifications. Who buys your product or service? When I use the physical product, I talk about field hockey players. I talked about waiters and waitresses. And I also talked about competitive runners. Conversation is totally different. So I need content for each one of those. Now, if you sell them to soccer players, that's something else too that you have to create. If you sell them to football players. So it could be tons of content you have to create. But once you create that content on a platform, it's going to be there, especially a blog post or a video on YouTube. So step number 2, again, is identify what transformation each type of customer is seeking from your product or service. And this is going to help you with your marketing message. What's the transformation you're selling? I know you sell a physical product, a digital product, or a service, but in all honesty, guys, you're selling a transformation. What's the transformation when a customer uses your product or service? They started at A and then they're going to transform to B. So that's what you're selling, is the transformation. So understand how you can use that transformation and get key points out of there to hone in on your marketing, your micro messaging. And number 3, craft a message or messages to each type of customer using the best platforms and mediums. So if you're selling hearing aids, right, or whatever, you probably don't want to be on Instagram a lot of times. You may be dealing with an older demographic, and you might need to message, be it TV commercials during the day while they're home watching TV, or AARP magazine or something like that. You have to understand what mediums that you can connect with your audience. But that's pretty much what we want to focus on, guys, is the money is in the message. Turbocharge sales with micro messaging. And I hope you guys take this to heart and start really creating micro messaging for your product or service, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to definitely exponentially increase your lead generation, and hopefully it's going to convert those leads into sales. Okay. Now, before we close on out, guys, let me just share my social media contact information and resource links, and I'm going to keep it super simple. Everything I'm going to tell you guys is on the website. So go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. If you're lazy, take the shortcut, go to bebconnect.com. It's going to take you to the same place. I mentioned at the top of the show, my latest book is out, Unlocking the Power of ChatGPT, the ultimate prompting guide for beginners. Go to unlockingchatgpt.com. Also, when you go to the website, I have 3 main buckets that you can go into. So if you're looking to build an e-commerce business, I have a program called Brand Builder Academy Elite, BBA Elite, that will help you build a physical products brand or a digital products brand in the e-commerce format. Okay. Also, I have BEB Academy that I talked about at the beginning of the show. And pound for pound, my best program, Pinpoint and Monetize Your Genius. Your genius is the intersection of your passion and talent. The problem is most people don't know how to monetize it. To learn more about those programs, go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, click the information button, and you'll see some videos about the individual programs. Now, if you want to connect with me, guys, anything long, hit me on my email, jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. That's JAYJONES at blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Facebook, go to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Twitter, go to jjones001, JAYJONES 001. Instagram, I got 2 IG accounts, guys. The first one is J Jones for real, JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. The second one is Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Now, I had an imposter trying to set up a IG account. If it's not one of those 2, it is not me. So make sure you don't send that imposter account any money. They actually even spelled it wrong. I think it was J Jones, no S on the end. So you know that's crazy right there. Also, LinkedIn. Make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn, guys. Go to LinkedIn, type in J Jones, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Guys, I have additional content on YouTube that does not come out on the show. And yes, the show is on YouTube. So go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and hit that subscribe button. Now, I say this each and every week, guys, because it's true. We get more and more downloads because of you, the BEB family. I appreciate you guys so much. Please continue to spread the word about the podcast. The new website, blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. We have so many resources to help you elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Make sure you hit the learn button, and in the drop down, you can learn all types of stuff about scaling your business, mindset and strategy, e-commerce, marketing. So make sure you go to the website, blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Also, all of the ecosystem around it, the online programs, the books, the courses, everything is designed, guys, to help you move from point A to B, to help you launch, build, and grow successful, sustainable businesses. Remember, guys, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us. It's about building an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. Love you guys. See you same time next week. Peace.